Hi, welcome to Working on Your Budget. We are going to be looking at our budget for this little bit for today and tomorrow. Y'all are going to be working on setting up your budget for the budget challenge. It will be due next week on Wednesday. So we are going to take and step through each piece that you need to record and how you find your information. So most of your information is already gathered together on your calendars. You have when everything is, but the only thing that we did not record was how much you need to pay each time. So if you didn't remember how you look at that, that is going to be over here on your tabs. And it's going to tell you the next bill amount. So like on rent, this is something I wanted to make sure to point out to you. If you chose option 1, on the 18th, you owe $635.71. If you choose option 2, on the 18th, you owe $46.43. And so depending on what option it is you chose for that, it's going to fluctuate the number for then. But it's also, that's not how much you're paying each month. Each month, the amount is a full rent. Because remember that first month we had to pay our partial rent plus we had to pay for the security deposit. How you can find out what your paycheck is, if you go to job and look, here's the payment calculator. I expanded it to see all of the numbers, but this last number over here, the one that's the farthest to the right, is your paycheck. And so for me, I chose the one at 13% to start it, and then I'm going to move it up to the 14% at a later point, because remember that first one of the challenges is to have a total of $1,000 in the first 4 paychecks. That's that these two columns added together for 4 times to be that amount. And if I look here, this is going to be just under 250. And if I look here, it's just over 250. And so I'm going to use a combination of those. You could have just stayed at 14, or you may take and choose to do a really small one and then go back up to a really big one. It really doesn't matter. This is one of the things that you can change each paycheck. So if you want a smaller percent or a bigger percent, you can adjust that according to that. And so the other thing that we can change throughout the game is you can change the type of bank you have. And if you choose options 1 or 2, remember there's a check fee of 50 cents. If you choose options 3 or 4, you have a minimum balance fee. And if you choose option 2, you also have a $3.95 charge that's going to happen. And if you choose one of the options of the last 3, that cycle date, statement day of the 3rd, is when that's going to happen. So the 3rd is when you'll get those fees. So that's something you want to record on the 3rd on your budget challenge. And so I'm going to go ahead and go over to my calendar. And this is going to help me set up everything. So I know that rent and credit card and renter's insurance and cell phone all come out between the 18th and the 26th. I don't have to pay all of those by the 26th. The 26th rent is due, so I must have that paid. And then we also had that challenge where you had to have $500 in your savings account. So let's go ahead and look and see how those will play out in writing into your budget. So when we're over in our budget, we are going to, first off, we're not going to get paid in this first week yet. We get paid on the 26th. So we shouldn't have no deposits here. But we are going to have some withdrawals. And so the first thing that I pay is my rent. And that was, I'm going to go ahead and choose option 2 or option 1, I think it is, for just this round to see what it looks like. And then I make a payment to my credit card on every time. You don't have to, but you do need to have at least in the 1200 range plan to be paid, if not a little bit more than that. Just have it budgeted for. You may not need that amount, but it gives you a good starting amount to have budgeted, because they're going to put between $500 and $700 every month on your credit card, and we're going to be going for 2.5 months. So we know a minimum they're going to have is, if that ratio is right, that means they're going to have at least 1,000 for the 2 months, and that partial month they could have anywhere in that range. So who knows how much it'll have, but you need to have at least 1,200 budgeted for. And so I split that up into, there's 6 little payment periods, or 6 times. And so I either do 200 to 250 each of those time frames. I'm going to try to see if I can do 250 and see what it does to my budget, because I'd rather have extra budgeted towards that area than not enough, because I can always tweak this as the game goes throughout. And so those 2 things are going to be paid with a check. So there's 2 checks there, and that's $1. Then I'm also going to move some money to my savings account for that savings account challenge. And it wants us to have 500 over. So if I look, I have enough to move that 500 over this first paycheck. Now I'm going to go on to the next month. And, oh, I didn't adjust my starting amount. Let's see how much was that for y'all. This time was $657.10. That number fluctuates every round that we do this. And so I still have $270 right now in that first little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and see, looking at it, my renter's insurance is $250. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out in this first little bit. So next, on the 26th, I get my paycheck deposited. I technically get paid on the 25th, but it shows up in my bank on the 26th. And so I'm going to record my paycheck. And for that 13%, that was going to be the $10.73.34. Also in this time frame, I should get back my deposit. Oops, I can't find my backspace. My deposit should be returned to me, and I'm going to be conservative just to say that they give me back $250. That number can fluctuate, so I don't want to plan for the whole amount. Oh, and I need to go back here and adjust my bank fees. Sorry, I wrote another extra check that I wasn't planning for, so I need to go back and adjust that. Now, I'm going to go in here, and so from the 26th, I'm going to look from the 26th through to the 12th and see what needs to be paid. And so I'm going to need to pay my cell phone, and then I need to pay rent, auto, loan, cable, and I could possibly pay my student loan at this time if I have enough money. And then don't forget that I want to make a payment towards my credit card. So I'm looking at those items, and if you need extra rows, you can always add in extra rows. So rent, auto, cell phone, cable, a credit card payment, and student loan. I don't know if I have enough in that section to actually pay for all of those. The student loan may have to wait till my next paycheck, but we'll see. And so if I go with this option for my rent, it was $600. My auto loan, one of the options had it at $369.44. Part of the reason we're planning out Our budget is to make sure that the choices we chose in our vendor will actually work. And so as you're working through this, if you see one that's not going to work for you, you need to go back and adjust it because you have until next Thursday to get it all adjusted. Rent, auto, cell phone, cable, credit card, and what was it? And student loan, maybe. And so cell phone was $65 under the option I did. Cable was $49.50. You see I'm getting really low down here now. My credit card is $250 is how much I want to put towards it. So I don't have enough money this time to pay my student loan. So I'm moving it over here and paste. And I'll pay my student loan next time. And so I pay, because it's not due until in this paycheck anyways. And so I've paid 5 bills, so I wrote 5 checks. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do the same thing. Start with paycheck. And this one I was actually going to increase my withholdings. And so my paycheck was a slightly different amount. I don't have anything that I know is going to come in this time frame. But I know my student loan was $265.78. And then I will go through on my calendar looking from the 12th to the 26th and see what things do I need to pay. And go ahead and schedule those in. So that's your process for, wait a minute, I think auto insurance is not until April. I think I marked that in the wrong month. Yeah, April is when auto insurance happens, so ignore this right now. That was the wrong, I forgot to move that from the last time I played this game. So look back at it and see what things you need to add in and change. And adjust your budget. And so by the end of it, you should have none of the balances at the bottom being negative. And this ending balance, therefore, should not be negative. You should have all your paychecks recorded. You should have rent done 3 times, auto loan done twice, your auto insurance done once, and it was in April, your cable done twice, your cell phone done at least twice, your credit card at least 3 times, and that's 3 times that you have to do it in that window, so that make sure between the 18th and the 27th you have at least one thing scheduled for them. And 2 times for your energy bill, 1 time for your renter's insurance, your student loan twice. You should have 5 paychecks recorded. And like I said, remain in the positive. Those are the things I'll be looking for this project. So let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach out to me through email or any other method if we're not in class. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.